Have a neek. Right, so this was last year's by a long chalk, the best colony. But the queen went early this year, so we are in fingers crossed territory. This apiary is windy, and it's been windy, and they don't get queens back well here. We've got a couple of apiaries like that, and this is not looking promising. We're also slightly puzzled because there was some drones above the queen excluder. This is a double brood because she was the size, well, she was just enormous last year. They've slightly higher hum perhaps. These are buckfasts, so they're never going to be aggressive. There's a emerged queen cell. Bottom. We're only looking for eggs, probably. What did we say? 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks. This colony has really gone a lot smaller. We did take 2 splits from it.
I'll give you this one to have a look at.
Yeah, but that's drone.
I know.
So that's not a good sign, because we have eggs and larvae, but it's in the drone brood. However, sometimes a young queen will start laying anywhere, and it's very difficult with these shiny polished frames. You think you can see eggs, but in fact it's the light glinting off the bottom, so you have to sort of move them around. I don't know. I don't think that is eggs in there. I think it's the light glinting off the bottom. I don't think this is actually... Oh yes, it is. So, bit of a disaster at the moment. I'm just going to put this back. Anything on that one?
I don't think so.
It's quite early for there to be... Well, it's not a drone laying worker. I mean, it's got to be a drone laying queen if it is a drone laying. They have got another box to go through, and quite often they go for the top one, don't they? Yeah. There's a lot of drone comb there. What's going on in that?
Same as on the top.
Hmm?
Same as in the one you had.
Oh, that's very disappointing and a bit surprising.
Very often she'll start laying in drones first.
Well, yes, but this seems to have been specifically chosen, doesn't it? And it's not just eggs. They're more progressed than just eggs. I think we'll have a look in the top one before we start wailing and gnashing teeth.
I've got some in the proper one, and it's an egg. I can see eggs.
Can you, my darling?
Yes.
Well, that's good. I'd still quite like to have a look in the top, but I think I can see something around there. Of course, until we got sealed brood, it could still be drone. frame's a mess.
Yep.
Still, it's obviously how they want it. Looks like they're actually starting to draw it down a bit. I thought I caught a glimpse on that of a varroa mite, but no. I haven't seen any varroa on the these this year, but I'm not as good at spotting it on the bees as our bee inspector is, who is like Hawkeye.
Yeah, I think there's eggs there as well.
Can you angle it towards me? No, I can only see reflections. Time will tell. Another week. We'll properly know what's happening. But there is something laying eggs, so we are not without hope. The trouble in this apiary is this is the only colony, so if we wish to give them eggs, we've got to get it from somewhere else and whip them over. Don't think there's any point in looking further back, is there? They're only living at the front. But so down there, my cherub. Shall I smoke those down for you? Let's see if we have more luck in their top. I mean, to me, going in the top first makes sense from the bee's point of view. I don't mean from Stuart's point of view, because there's less drafts up there. It's going to be warmer, but quite often they are in the bottom. I assume these are on a, yes, they're on a varroa floor, but they do have the slide in. So, bit of nectar. Last year this colony was just enormous.
A lot of nectar.
Yeah, so they're obviously finding something, and they're not even enormous. Need some young bees before they can draw that out. Right.
More nectar.
So at the moment, they're using the top as a super. I mean, if there is a queen back and if she takes after her mother, which are both quite big ifs, then they need to double brood, but we don't keep many on double broods. Nearly all nectar, isn't it?
Right.
Still, you never know, there might be something. Oh, the next one's
Foundation.
is it foundation? They're not drawing much, are they? And what we also haven't seen is any sign of a queen. And I'm still a little bit mystified as to why there were drones above the queen excluder. Unless, of course, there is a gap somewhere and they're just popping in and getting lost. No, bee bread. Oops, that's a frame. Still, it'll still hang. Oh dear,
What if I
both
keep
ends.
doing that? Right, so
Old, isn't it? Do you want to replace it? Okay, well they're not drawing at the moment, so it's difficult, isn't it?
yeah.
And it will hang, if only just. Right, so that's a bit of a disappointment, but we don't know yet. We will find out in a week or so. Shouldn't leave it any longer, because if we need to give them eggs, we have to give them eggs when they're just well, they've still got enough. And it's going to be a bit of a palaver because we've got to bring them from somewhere else. So. Sounds like there's a garden next door. I don't know what's next door. But this is, well, it's a small holding, but as you see, the farmer manages the field, so we get a good lot of dandelions here, which give them an early start, but then as soon as it can be trimmed, it is trimmed. Stuart likes the lines that way round. I don't care. I'm quite happy to put them either way round. Right, I better switch this off and help him lift the supers. They're not heavy. They were. Have a quick look. We're having a quick look. There is a super with some nice capped honey in. Nearly all the way across, not quite. So they're not going to starve. I reckon there was 2.5 supers of honey on this 3 weeks ago, but not now. There we are. That's why we don't take it, so that they don't starve. Right, this is the little swarm that we took off of the oak tree just there. I don't know, a month ago, maybe a month ago, 3 weeks. So last time we looked, they were settled and doing well, and now they've done what they do so often. It was a very small swarm, and we were very surprised that it was a prime swarm, and they started laying straight away. So there we are. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 supersedure cells, which is high for supersedure cells, but 10, I've just spotted another one. I'm going to leave them because I can't believe they'd swarm again. They shouldn't swarm again. They're clearly supersedure cells. Queen's gone, so I'm going to let them get on with it. So this is another swarm, and this time we've got 2 queen cells. In fact, they look like emergency queen cells. We've got nothing else, no eggs, no larvae. So I don't know what happened to Her Majesty, but it's only a small swarm that went into a box. We'll have to keep our fingers crossed. Okay, we're back in. Not because we've finished, but because I can't lift that many supers on my own. Stuart has gone through this. These had swarmed a month or so ago. They've got nothing, and if you listen to them, it's a bit of a roar, not a huge roar, but just a bit of a roar. Bees get like this if they're not very happy. So we're hoping to find them eggs to give them here.
tell the colonies that are hungry.
Yeah.
The drones are all pushed
To the back, yes. They don't want their drones. They haven't gone as far as throwing them out. But this colony had 3 supers on. That means at least a couple of them would have had a good amount in. And I could have lifted those 3 supers on my own, which is saying something. Obviously, 3 full supers are £90. Between the 2 of us, we can lift them. We can't do more than 3. I used to lift a weight through the winter just to keep my muscles going. I must admit I didn't do it this winter, which I should have done really. It's all right when you're young. As you get older, you need to keep those sort of things. I'm recording this one in portrait because I've had advice from, well, I expect it's from Angharad via Twitter, Griffiths, Gwenning Griff. She says that I should be recording it in landscape and not in portrait. It feels very unnatural to me, but we'll give it a go. They're experts. Eggs? Yeah. Excellent. So Stuart's got eggs on that one, so he'll check carefully for the queen, because obviously we don't want to do that. And then he'll shake the majority of the bees off. Doesn't actually matter if you put a few young bees who've not left the nest over, because they don't smell. You think they would, you think they'd smell the strongest. What's that over in that corner, Stuart?
I'll have a look now.
Okay. Oh, look, it's just a play cup. You think they'd smell the strongest, but apparently not. They don't. The young bees, other hives will take them. It's only once they start flying that they start smelling. So there's a mysterious thing. So we'll pop it in the middle. The apiarist said that the middle ones, or near the middle, are the most successful. So there, now that won't do any harm, because if there is a queen and we've just missed her and she's just not quite laying, we don't think there is, it won't do any harm. They won't mind. I think we need your smoke. But if there isn't, then they will set about making a new queen using those eggs that we've just given them. So we'll have solved the problem. It's not ideal. It would have been better if they'd managed to make their own queen, but it's a solution. Right, off I go.